Hello to everybody. My name is Marion Bournazel. I'm working in the R&D team of Mix Science based in France, and I'm going to talk to you about the available phosphorus and calcium. Are we close to the best dietary level for performance and mineralization in broilers regarding calcium to available phosphorus ratio? The low phosphorus diet might be a key for a sustainable broiler production, but in fast growing broilers, we can ask ourselves if low phosphorus diets could lead to lower bone mineralization and welfare issues. And this may be due to the supply of dietary available phosphorus and of calcium and the differences in their utilization. And currently, available phosphorus and calcium to available phosphorus requirements of a modern broiler remain unclear. To answer to this interrogation, we did a trial, and the objective was to study the effect of dietary available phosphorus and calcium to available phosphorus ratio on the growth performance, carcass yield, and tibia characteristics of Ross 308 broilers from day 0 to 42 days of age. And we had two questions. Can we lower available phosphorus supply in the finishing period? And what is the best calcium to available phosphorus ratio? To do so, we did a trial at the Mix Science Research Center in France. The formula were based on wheat and corn, with the inclusion of soybean, rapeseed, and sunflower meal, and also with corn DDGS. We had an NSPase, oxalenase plus beta-glucanase, and a phytase at 750 FTU per kilogram. We had 6 diets during 3 different phases, starter, grower, and finisher period. The fourth diets were with 2.2 calcium to available phosphorus in green. The first diet was a low sequence of available phosphorus. The second one was with a medium available phosphorus supply. The third one with a high available phosphorus supply. And the last one was with a high available phosphorus supply for starter and grower period, but a lower available phosphorus supply during the finisher period. The two other diets in blue were with 1.8 calcium to available phosphorus ratio. One was with a low available phosphorus supply during all the experimental period, and the other one with high available phosphorus supply during all experimental period. For this trial, we used male Ross 308 in 96 kgs of 5 animals per kgs until day 21, and then 4 animals per kgs. Water and feed intake were recorded, as well as body weight at day 0, 10, 21, 28, 35, and 42 for each kgs. For all groups, except the medium available phosphorus supply at 2.2, we sampled tibia at day 21 and 42, and we measured the carcass quality at day 42. Concerning the statistical analysis, we used the software RStudio, and we realized orthogonal contrast. The first contrast was a comparison of the two ratio, 2.2 and 1.8, at a low available phosphorus supply. The second one was the same, but with a high available phosphorus supply. The third and the fourth was the effect of the increase of available phosphorus supply at 2.2 ratio, linearly and quadratically. And finally, the last contrast was the effect of lowering available phosphorus supply during the finishing period at 2.2 ratio. For the result, I will show you the result during the finishing period because we did not observe any statistical effect during the starter or the grower period. From day 20 to day 28, the average daily gain was not affected by the different groups. The FCR, on the contrary, was affected. The contrast 1 was significant. So we observe an increase of the FCR with low available phosphorus supply at 1.8 ratio compared with the low available phosphorus supply but at 2.2 ratio. It's interesting to mention that the two sequence of high available phosphorus supply but at 2.2 or 1.8 ratio were the group with the lowest FCR meaning that a high supply of available phosphorus seems to be beneficial irrespective of calcium supply. For the finisher period, from day 28 to day 35, we did not also observe any effect on weight, average daily gain, feed intake or FCR. But I wanted to show you these results in order to compare with the following slide, because during the last period of the finishing period, from day 35 to day 42, we observe a significant effect of contrast number 5, a tendency to be more precise, whereas lowering available phosphorus during the finishing period decrease the average daily gain. And even if it's not significant, we can also observe an increase of FCR between the HHH 2.2 sequence and the HHL 2.2 sequence. Concerning the FCR, we had a significant effect of contrast number 3, where the increasing of available phosphorus lead to a decrease of the FCR, an improvement. And even if it was not significant, we can also observe an increase of the average daily gain between the sequence LLL 2.2 and HHH 2.2. So numerically, we can see an improvement of ADG and FCR as the phosphorus supply increases. Concerning growth performance, the final body weight was not significantly affected by available phosphorus or calcium to available phosphorus ratio. But we can observe that the high sequence of available phosphorus at 2.2 ratio has the highest final body weight. And the decrease of available phosphorus supplies during the finishing period decreased the final body weight, and it was also the lowest body weight. So lowering available phosphorus during this period seems to slightly impair the growth. And concerning global FCR, from day 0 to day 42, we observed a significant effect of contrast number 1, where the FCR was increased with low available phosphorus supply at 1.8 ratio. The group HHH 1.8 seems to be the most efficient group. And at 2.2 ratio, it's important to mention that available phosphorus and calcium supply does not seem to play an important role, as the FCR was quite the same for these three groups. And so consequently, we can conclude that lowering available phosphorus during the finishing period, so the sequence HHL 2.2, seems to slightly impair the efficiency. Concerning bone characteristics, I will show you the result for day 42 only, because we did not observe any effect at day 21, and we did not either have any effect on ash content at day 42. So these results are just the fracture force and stiffness. We had significant effect of contrast number 3 and contrast number 4. For contrast number 3, for both criteria, we observed an increase of fracture force and stiffness with the increase of available phosphorus, so from LLL 2.2 to HHH 2.2. And again, as we observe on growth performance, the decrease of available phosphorus during the last period, in finishing period, decreased the two criteria of a bone characteristic. So a low available phosphorus supply at both level of calcium to available phosphorus seems to be deleterious. And decreasing the level of available phosphorus, even in finishing period, is not advisable. In concerning slaughter results, and more specifically yields, we didn't observe any significant result on fat and ready-to-cook yield. We observed the significant effect of contrast number 1 for breast yield, where the breast yield was significantly lower for the low available phosphorus at 1.8 ratio compared to the low available phosphorus at 2.2 ratio. It's important to mention that at high available phosphorus level, it seems to decrease fat yield and increase ready-to-cook yield, but impairs breast yield compared with LLL 2.2 sequence. And decreasing available phosphorus during the finishing period seems to increase fat yield and decrease ready-to-cook yield, but did not affect breast yield. To conclude, supplying more available phosphorus at 1.8 ratio is beneficial for growth performance, but also for bone and carcass measurements. The lowest ratio, on the contrary, at a low available phosphorus, seems to be the most deleterious strategy. Lowering available phosphorus supply during finishing period impairs performance, bone and carcass result, and then is not advised. The sequences with a low available phosphorus at 2.2 ratio and the high available phosphorus at 1.8 ratio showed the same body weight, average daily gain, feed intake, and FCR, and so an economy of phosphorus is possible with the sequence with a low available phosphorus at 2.2 ratio. Concerning take-home messages, we had two questions. Can we lower available phosphorus supply in the finishing period? The answer is no. It does not seem to be a good strategy to save phosphorus regarding the result of this trial. And what is the best calcium to available phosphorus ratio? 1.8 and 2.2 can be used, but in the case of 1.8, the supply of available phosphorus needs to be adjusted. Thank you, and thank you for your attention.